Hi everyone, welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. How you guys doing this Monday? I know it's a little late. It's a little like 6:36, but this is the time that I can be here today. But I'm here, guys. So yes, I made it. I'm here. I hope you guys had a great day. I hope everything's going well and that you had a great weekend. I was able to get some rest this weekend, which I kind of like forced myself to because I'm always doing stuff. So I really took the time out to just rest and just take care of me this weekend. I'm always talking about that, but I need to do more of it because I could be a workaholic at times. And it's always good to take a break. Excuse me, guys. This weather today and these allergies is like really kicking in. It was 80 degrees today. I can't believe it. So I'm here, guys, having some tea. And I hope all is well. And thank you for the comments and the messages that you've been sending me to let me know that these messages and videos are helping you. And I'm so glad that these messages that you are resonating with them, because these are my personal experiences of so much that I've gone through. And I talk about ways that we can overcome. It's not easy, but it's necessary, guys. And also, what I don't talk about enough is laughter. We need to add that to our menu, laughter, because there's a lot of crap going on in this world today, spending mostly on misery and toxicity. So just take in as little as you can and make sure that you add some laughter to your ingredients because it's important. Music, laughter. You like flowers like me, get yourself some. Make your environment as comfortable as possible. All these things I'm talking about right now is part of the healing process because it helps your mental and physical to be uplifted, especially in these uncertain times that we're living in. And just make sure that even though you don't feel like it sometimes, just take a step, an effort to take care of yourself, to do something. You will notice the difference because for me, sometimes I don't feel like doing anything, guys. And that grief stricken, how do I describe it? Like I did in a few of my videos, that those moments of unexpected grief that might come upon you. And I still have that, not as bad as before. So I'm always tuning into music because it helps to balance that out. Because at first I couldn't control it. Wherever I went, this grief, was so bad that I just didn't want to leave the house. And for a while, when the shutdown was over, I didn't go back to work right away because the grief was so bad, guys, that I had to take a little short leave. Because if I went into a grocery store and I saw something that reminded me of my mother or my dog, I remember a few times just leaving my cart there, running out in tears, being balled up somewhere in a corner. I had it really bad. So this is why I'm talking to you guys here, because some of you who are listening right now may be going through this or may have gone through this, and you probably was thinking you lost your mind or something. No, you didn't. It's that there are moments, because I researched all of this stuff when I was going through it, moments that grief can be so bad and you're kind of blocking it out and you're trying to go about your life and daily activities, and then boom, it comes out of nowhere and it hits you like a ton of bricks. And then you feel so weighed down that you can't engage in anything else. You just have to run away. And that's what I was going through for almost a year, because of all of the deaths that I had to deal with during the shutdown. Every week somebody was passing away. And just looking at how painful it is. But guys, you can get through it. If I can get through this, you never get over it You're always going to have that void because of it, but you can get through it. And I'm talking to somebody out there who's listening right now who might need to hear this. Don't ever feel like you're alone. I felt like I was alone a long time. I stayed in prayer with God. And one of the key factors is that I never gave up on myself. I continued to move forward. Because, like I said, life and circumstances and situations, these things come into our life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. And I start to figure it out that a lot of these was lessons. I had to learn them. I had to learn to trust God and to trust myself and stop putting my 1000% trust into other people. Because God was showing me that people can let you down at your most weakest moment, and to trust Him. And that's what I learned to do. One day at a time, guys. And I'm not religious, etc., but I do have a deep relationship with God and understanding at this point on how to connect with Him. So, guys, with that being said, keep in mind I'm not a therapist, social worker, or counselor, just somebody who's gone through a lot of hell. And I talk about how to become an overcomer instead of succumbing to these trials and tribulations. So if you're here for the first time, welcome. Continue to show up here. We're going to be talking about a lot of different topics that tie in with healing, grief, etc. Before we get into this topic today, the topic is never take someone's kindness for granted. Before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about how we win when a few people want to get on that bandwagon to distract us from healing. Because some people, like I said in prior videos, they don't want to see you heal. They don't want to see you heal, grow, and evolve. Some people just, they just don't want to see you heal, grow, and evolve. So you can't allow yourself to be distracted from it. I know for me, it was hard, but setting strong boundaries help, a whole lot. So set those boundaries. Let people know you need to take care of yourself. Tell them why. Don't be shy about it. Tell them you need time out to heal, and, if they don't understand that, then you have to, really look at that connection. That's all I'm going to say about that. Also, what I've learned so far on this healing journey and everything I've gone through is to keep your personal business to yourself, because you could be sharing a whole lot of information with people who you think have your back and they support you and want to see you grow, heal, and evolve. And you could be sharing information with someone who, have malicious intentions. Be careful of who you share in your personal information, because you could have people around you who smile in your face and who really are just trying to sabotage everything that you're going to do or that you're trying to do. Like the metaphor I always use, crabs in a barrel. One crab make it up to the top. Oh, hey, we're down here. We didn't make it to the top, so we're going to drag your ass right back here, down here with us. Because if we can't get up there, you can't either. And that's the mentality, the broken mentality of a lot of folks today. And this is unhealed trauma and hurts and things in their life that they haven't looked at. They haven't addressed that elephant in a room. And so the elephant is growing bigger and bigger, and they keep ignoring it, and it just creates more problems. So learn to keep your personal business to yourself. Stop sharing with people, your projects, goals, or whatever it is that you're working on, because I used to do that all the time. I used to be so excited about it. Oh, I'm doing this, got this going on, blah, blah. And people would smile, that fake smile, and then they behind the scenes trying to sabotage it. I remember one time that I was so excited about this platform, this theater that I rented, and I invited people. I worked hard for about 3 weeks on it, the presentation and everything, like I do pretty much here, and inviting people to come. And people were saying they were going to be there, have flyers, drawing up everything, and special effect because it was a huge stage. And I was going to talk about and do an introduction on how all of this came about. And then I think I talked about this in another video a while back, that I had went to Dunkin' Donuts and ordered this whole thing of breakfast. It must have cost about $125, $130 because I expected a lot of people. Guys, not one person showed up. And I'm like, what? I mean, I just can't explain how that made me feel. Like the worst day of my life. Not one person showed up. And then one guy who was like a mentor to me, and I said, why didn't you show up? Because, you have the flyer. And he thought it was at a different time. But how could you have thought that when you have the flyer? Because everybody had a flyer. And it told you all the information right there. So it just made me realize, that something's not right here. So as I get to, work on more projects and do things, I keep my business to myself, because if people don't know what you're doing, they can't sabotage it. So just be careful who you're sharing your information with, because you could be sharing information with a hater. You may not know that person is a hater. Just be careful of who you have around you. Know who you can trust and know who you cannot trust. And I keep my inner circle small because I see a lot of haters. And I know from not just the body language, just wording. Because I've been through it like 1,000 times in the past, so I know what it looks like. Know what the deception looked like. Because when you can pinpoint that, then you can detour and save yourself a lot of pain and aggravation from it. Surround yourself with people who truly care about you and want to see you grow, heal, and evolve. And people who are going to motivate you and be there and have your back, especially during the difficult times. That's how you know who really care about you and who really should be in your inner circle. Instead of those who are trying to drag you back down to the bottom of the barrel with them, because they don't want to grow, heal, and evolve. Know what people's true intentions are before you share your personal with them. So with that being said, let's get into the topic of discussion. Boy, I went through that, and let me tell you what the topic of discussion is again. I have some notes here, guys. Never take someone's kindness for granted. We live in a world today where people think being kind and being loving to somebody and respectful is weak. There's nothing weak about that. The opposite is weak. Being disrespectful, mean, hateful, and toxic to people is weak. Because, with that, nothing grows, nothing heals, nothing evolves. It just stays stagnated and stuck. Do unto others as you want done unto you. And that's in the Bible. Do unto others what you want done to you. If you want people to treat you with respect, kindness, love, then you have to give that to them. You can't expect somebody to treat you that way and you treat them like they're nothing, like they're less than zero. So treat people how you want to be treated. When someone wants to take your kindness for granted, they're showing you how they truly feel about you. Because it's rare in the world that we live in today that somebody truly is in your space, in your life, and they truly don't want anything but to be your friend. They want to see you grow, heal, and evolve, want to uplift you, want to motivate you, and they're not expecting anything in return. They just want to be there by your side. People like that is rare in this world today. Rare. You don't see a lot of that. You see a lot of the opposite, the toxicity and stuff. When you have a friend or even a family member or somebody, significant other that has your back and they're there with you during the good times and during the lowest moments of your life, you better hold on to them, because we don't have a lot of people like that in the world today. It's like finding a rare gem, you know? And when people want to take advantage of you, treat you less than zero, do the opposite, set strong boundaries. Let people know that you're not going to tolerate it. Not only letting people know you're not going to tolerate it, set some strong boundaries. And I'm learning some folks don't like boundaries, you know. I had to do that recently with someone who kept calling me at a specific time when I'm like, this is my weekends, and you know, on the weekends, that's my time to rest and do other stuff that I do. And when people, you know, unless it's, you know, like a friend or something, but if it's a situation on a business level, I don't do that on the weekends, you know, because the weekends I regroup, I take care of me, you know. If I go out every now and then, I go out, whatever, but that's my time. And when someone keeps intruding on that and I tell them that, then, you know, I have to set some strong boundaries. And that might mean blocking you for a minute or whatever it is. Because treat people, let me say it like this. Why do we need to show somebody how to treat us? Whether it's a romantic connection, whether it's a family connection or a business connection or a friend connection, why do we need to teach others how to treat us? Why can't that be a natural thing is what I always ask myself. Why can't that be a natural thing where do unto others as you want done unto you? And one of the things I found out is that people are so busy hating because and watching somebody else's life that they're not neglecting their own life and the things that they need to build up in their own life because they're focused on somebody else's situation and what they got going on. So much so to the point that everything over here that they got going on is being neglected. So they're not building, they're just busy doing this. And that's when I set strong boundaries, and because those things can distract you from your healing. Anything that's going to distract me from taking care of myself, I'm going to set some strong boundaries with it. And this is what I mean about getting distracted. Never allow yourself to be distracted from what somebody else is doing. You know, and when people want to tear down a good person, somebody with a good heart, somebody who will be in their corner to help them as well, then they need to look at their life. They need to start looking at why they're doing this. You know, that they have some work to do on themselves. Because why would somebody want to tear down a good person who's there in their corner, who has their back? That's rare in this world. It's always the opposite that's going on, especially everything today. So when you have a good person with a kind heart, treat that person with respect. Treat that person the way you want to be treated. Keep that person in your life, because you're not going to find too much of that today. You know, it's a lot of the opposite that's going on in this world today. And you know, people who are kind-hearted, generous, and they are there for you whenever you need them, they're the people you need to have in your life, especially on a healing journey, because they're the ones who are going to motivate, encourage you to keep going, even when you feel like giving up. They're going to have your back and always be there for you. You always need people like this in your life. You know, and this is why I close a lot of doors over here, because these doors were toxic as hell. A lot of toxicity lie behind those doors. So I had to learn the lessons. Okay, I learned the lessons, close those doors, padlock it, and move over here to my new beginnings. I promise you guys that as you continue to persevere and do the work, little by little, step by step, and you ask God to help you, and He see you taking steps, even if it's half a step, He's going to take 2 and 3 on your behalf as you persevere, because that's the key factor, to persevere, to keep going. Never mind the naysayers. Never mind people hating. You're always going to have that when you're doing something positive, because they don't want you to be that crab at the top of the barrel. They want you down there with them. Have you guys ever been around people who just complain all the time? That's just their motto, or they always talking about something negative. People like that, like they don't want to do the work to grow, heal, and evolve because it's too much to look at. That means they have to look at the elephant in the room, ask why it's growing, why it's getting bigger. They want to pretend it's not there, because that's how it was in my house. What happens in his house stays in his house. But if you don't talk about it, you don't address that elephant in the room, then you stay stuck and stagnated in that pain. And then you carry that baggage and luggage to every connection that you make. And then you wonder why these connections are deteriorating, falling apart. It's because you didn't address the elephant in the room. Once you get to the root cause of that pain, then you can heal it. And as you heal it, you grow, evolve. And as you do so, you self-care, you self-love. And then you start to feel that inner peace. When you get to a place and a point of inner peace, you're unbothered by the noise of the toxicity that's going on over here, over there. Because you're no longer part of it. You close the doors to that stuff. You're focusing on your growth. And when you grow, heal, mentally and physically, you're detached from all that other toxic stuff that used to get you going all the time. Now you're unbothered by it. And you set strong boundaries and close doors to that. So now you're opening these new doors over here where you're self-healing, laughter, new people who are on the same level with you. And you all, can grow, heal, and evolve together. And, embracing your life and not allowing the trials and tribulations and things that happen to you to keep you stuck in a place of bitterness because A, B, C, and D did this to you, went back, way back. Once you heal those things, you forgive. The forgiveness is for you so that you can move on and not stay stuck. And you can let these folks over there stay over there where they are in their toxicity. You over here healing, opening new doors with new people and people who are really going to support you and be there and have your back. That's how we win. We win by not staying stuck. We win by forgiving so that we can let go of the bitterness, the pain, so that we can move on and live our life to the fullest. Instead of being broken down, busted, and disgusted, we can grow, heal, and evolve and be at a place of inner peace instead of broken down into pieces. That's the message today, guys. Share it with others. Continue to show up here on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. And we're going to talk about a lot more of these things because as we speak them out, it's an outlet for the pain so that we can continue to stay in a place of healing. Thank you for being here today and showing up, guys. Continue to be here with me. And I'm not sure what time I'm going to be here tomorrow. So subscribe to the channel, invite others to do so. And then you can be here with me every day. This is Lisa shedding love and light. Have a good evening, guys. And I'll see you sometime tomorrow. Bye for now.